Hi there, this is Datila, and welcome to TNAIW GoGo Power Rankings show. As always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts. First, to my right, he is allegedly has no relation to Steve Macklin. He is the star of the show. He's the Burt kid, Burt Macklin.
And actually, I'm here to make an announcement. I'm no longer part of the Macklin family. I've officially become the third rascal. So it's time for a change. But other than that, how's everyone doing?
I think we're doing good, Burt. And to my left, not only is he the godfather of the power rankings, he's a DNA of LL TNAIW. Lucha A. Smith. Lucha, 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 Lucha.
He's the one that puts the Lucha and Lucha House Party.
Yeah.
I can't be the Lucha in Luchasaurus. I can't be the brother in the Lucha Brothers. I gotta be the Lucha of the Lucha House Party.
You're also the third man who made this the new world order of podcasting.
Hollywood Lucha Hogan, Hollywood Hulk Lucha Wood. Well, I'm the Wood Master.
And after this show, we're gonna finish up with you just doing 5 minutes of posing, as only Hollywood could do. You gotta give him that. You gotta give him that pose.
Just as long as I'm not getting pelted with trash as I'm trying to get through a sentence, I'm fine.
That's true.
You make sure you won't. So, quite the interesting show this week. I feel like the main event might play a huge part in this week's power rankings because Lio Rush pinned Chris Sabin.
Look,
let me just say real quick, we've been witness to a lot of debuts. I think that was probably my favorite debut in a while, just because I don't think I've ever watched a wrestler who come through Impact. My first thought quicker was that guy belongs in Impact, and Lio Rush belongs in Impact. I've been saying, I think a lot of people have been saying that, but yeah, I expect Lio Rush to be somewhere near the top. That was a great debut from his promo into the in-ring.
Definitely, I agree. Where do you think Lio Rush might land on this week's power rankings?
I don't know where my man's going to land, but I just know that people are watching this show. And I'll tell you why I say that. Because remember, a few weeks back, there was that whole controversy over Moose Myers and the Good Hands, whether they should be a unit or not. And
yeah.
And then either a week or so after that episode on Impact, Moose is like, okay, me and you can be a thing, but you gotta ditch them fools. So Moose had to watch and had to hear me say that they ain't gonna be something until they figure out if they are something. And he did that. Fast forward, I was the one who was saying that the Motor City Machine Guns are just going to run straight to Slammiversary at number 1. That boy Lio Rush was like, yeah, nah, fuck that. So he kind of made it a little difficult. So it'll be interesting to see where he lands and then see if what he did was able to take them off that path. I legitimately don't know, guys. I don't know. The other two on the show, they know because one, does the numbers and then the other one has it for the show. I don't know shit. So I'm legitimately nervous on what's going to happen here.
Also, I don't think he's going to be on the rankings, but I have I kind of want to have a request for the rankings committee. Keep an eye on Sheldon Jean. you saw a lot of charisma in that brief little promo backstage on Thursday. You know what I mean? I saw something. And I saw it from the beginning, but now they're giving him a little more room to talk. And obviously, you can't ask for a better teacher than Kenny King. So, again, I hope Sheldon Jean is on the show a lot more. Keep an eye out for him.
That was a hilarious segment. Say his name and he appears. He's Yuya Uemura.
Speaking of a hilarious segment, even though I'm not liking this Dango character, I have to admit it popped me when he kept mentioning Viano 4 and then he said Viano 93. That was hilarious. So good for him for mentioning the Vianos. That popped me. Like, that was funny.
Dango know about his WCW.
Yeah, that was funny.
With that being said, let's play these power rankings. Number 10, The Rascals. Number 9, number 1 contender Trinity. Number 8, Bully Ray and Steve Macklin. Number 7, Jonathan Gresham. Number 6, Giselle Shaw. Number 5, Tag Team Champions ABC. Number 4, number 1 contender Nick Aldis. Number 3, World Champion Deonna Purrazzo. Number 2, Lio Rush. Number 1, Motor City Machine Guns.
Let's fucking go! Let's go! Yes! Yes! Oh, let's go! Oh! Let's go!
Oh, we're so mad he left.
Let's go! Let's go! Yes! Oh, there's so many people. I want to thank the committee. I want to thank God. I want to thank the Motor City Machine Guns. Thank you, Detroit.
Wow, okay. Very interesting here. I want to start with number 10 because actually number 10 was a tie. It came down to the Rascals and Eddie Edwards. They both had 20 points. 20 points. Both of them tied. Now, as you know, not everybody can be on the power rankings. So we had to break this tie. So, do you agree the Rascals should be at number 10, or should have Eddie Edwards came in at number 10 over the Rascals? Burt, I'll let you go first.
I have to say I disagree a little bit just because I think the deciding factor should be, even though the Rascals are money, Eddie Edwards did get a win. So I would have had him ahead. But that doesn't mean that it's wrong or not. And wait, I just got it. His move is called the Boston Knee Party. Like Boston Tea Party. I just got it. I can't believe I just got that. That should be alone. That should be alone why he should be cheating on.
Where
you been? We've been knowing that.
I didn't know that. I just got it. No, but really, I think just because of that win, but the Rascals have a lot of momentum on their side, so I think either one is fine. I don't have a problem.
What about you, Lucha? Do you agree? Should the Rascals be at number 10 over Eddie Edwards, or should Eddie Edwards came in at number 10 instead of the Rascals?
Okay, I'm going to not answer your question, and then I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to answer a question I made up in my head. Are between Eddie Edwards and the Rascals, are they both top 10? In my opinion, yes, because they were in my top 10. I did have the Rascals over Eddie. So because of that, going into the realm of your actual question, yes, the Rascals should have been in front of Eddie Edwards. Yeah, Eddie got a win against Frankie. That's true. But it's the Rascals, bro. Light them smoke them if you got them. And we got all of them.
You know what? I'm going to change my mind. I think the Rascals should be ahead purely because Trey Miguel was eating during his promo. And
that's true. He was.
And he's on my list.
The part where he was like, "Hey, yo, hold this," and then just dropped it. Oh yeah, man, I died.
So yeah, I think this is the biggest. We might have to put out like maybe a poll or something because I think this was I think you could have went either way. Because again, a dub is a dub, is a dub. Dubs go a long way. You know what I mean? So, and Annie Edwards beat a first ballot Hall of Famer in Frankie Kazarian. So, but again, yeah, it was tough.
You know, if either one of them would have just gotten one more point, it would have pushed them. It would have solidified them being at number 10. But they both came in at 20 points each, so we had to break that tie.
I think if Trey would have said what kind of sandwich she was eating, that would have put it over the top for me. Like if it was a club or a Reuben, maybe a corned beef. You know what I mean? BLT.
It's Trey Miguel. You know exactly what kind of sandwich was. It was a Zaxby's chicken sandwich.
Okay, I like that.
Okay. So this next one, I'm going to combine a few numbers here, including number 1, because I just feel like they all belong together. Number 4, number 1 contender Nick Aldis. Number 2, Lio Rush. Number 1, the Motor City Machine Guns. And I'm also going to talk about number 3, Deonna Purrazzo, because she is a Knockouts champion here. So, in regards to these 4, my first question is, should Lio Rush be ahead of our Knockouts world champion? Because she is a world champion. However, Lio Rush main evented and pinned Chris Sabin, who is currently the X Division champion. And Nick Aldis, he's number 1 contender. So who goes first? Who should be at number 4? Lio Rush or Nick Aldis? I definitely want to hear your opinions. Burt, since you went first last time, Lucha, you can go first on this one.
All right, before I answer, I just want to make a few things clear. You know, Deonna's the fucking best. Long may she fucking reign.
Yeah.
Hashtag Deonna Purrazzo fan club over here. All that being said, Lio Rush should be ahead of Deonna. Ugh. It hurt to say it, but it's true. Simply because Lio, while he only has 2 pins in Impact, one of those pins is over the 9-time X Division champion. And that one pin over a man who held the belt that many times. Yeah.
Ask me the question. Well, ask me the question how you started it. Dottie, ask me the question.
Okay. Do you think Lio Rush should be ahead of Deonna? I mean, he did pin Chris Sabin in the main event.
No. And I'll tell you why. Whose company is this? It's Deonna's company.
Deonna's.
Okay? If Lio Rush would have beat Chris Sabin in maybe a singles match, non-title or something like that, even though I know what happened, that's fine. But this is Deonna's company. Besides Joe Henry, which he is technically the longest running champ in the company, Deonna is, out of the 2 world championships, Deonna is the longest reigning. This is her company. I would have put her number 1, but again, just like previous, I don't have a problem with Lio being ahead of her. But I do just think that every week Deonna should be the de facto number 2 or 1, just in case, because again, like we said, the Machine Guns kind of have a lock at number 1, just because for a bunch of different factors. But it's just really hard for me not to have Deonna number 2, just because again, she is a world champion, and the Knockouts division is the cornerstone of Impact. You know what I mean? It doesn't sit well with me.
So let me flip it. Let me flip it. Okay, we get who's someone who just came in? Give me a knockout.
Jody Threat.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was about to say. So say Jody Threat comes through, she pins, she gets a couple wins over some tomato cans, and then boom, in a non-title type situation, she gets a pin over Deonna. You still putting Deonna over Jody?
Is Deonna still the champion?
Yeah.
Is Deonna the champion in this sense? It's like a non-title match?
Yeah, Deanna's still the champ in this sense, and it's like a tag match, and Jody Threat gets the pin over Deanna.
Well, that is tough. At one point, if it's a tag match, a non-title match, how do we know that Deanna just, let her get the win just because she's not trying to risk getting hurt in a non-title match? She's still the champion.
Oh, you pulling that? Look, you said you're not a Macklin anymore, so you can't use that Macklin ass excuse of it was a non-title match. No, fuck that.
That's a tough. I guess, yeah. You're right. I'll give you that. I'm being a homer. And part of me is also trying to avoid getting memed again. You know what I mean? I don't want to get embarrassed on the Twitter sphere.
I remember that.
So,
it became a meme.
Yeah, no. I don't care if Deanna loses a million times. She's still number one. Remember I said that, Deanna. Don't hate me. She should be number one no matter what happens.
For me, this is tough because just like Lucha, I like Deanna Purrazzo. I met Deanna Purrazzo. She's our champion, but she didn't have a match, and she just came out of the backstage segment with Trinity. Lio Rush made a great case. He main evented, pinned Chris Sabin. I don't know how you can beat that with just a backstage segment. I heard to say that.
Now, I will
actually, you know what?
No, I will agree. It is slightly controversial to have Lio Rush over Deanna Purrazzo. But I mean, like I said, the facts is the facts. My man pinned the 9-time champ. That's gotta hold something. That's gotta hold.
One of the reasons I will agree with you on that is just because usually in a tag match, I think out of the while it's in a machine gun match, both Shelly and Sabin are going to show out. I think that in this match, I think Lio Rush is the one that carried him and Aldis to the victory. I think he was a star of his team. So by that measure, I do think Lio should be higher. So I'll give you that. I think he was the one that went out and took that win. He was clearly the star of the team.
So to help his case even more, you just said Lio Rush carried a former world champion.
Yeah, so I agree with you. Lio should be higher this week. Yeah. See how easy I can... I don't have any... I can be swayed easily.
I guess that answers the next question as to why Nick Aldis, who is number one contender, came in at number 4 over Lio Rush.
The fact that he even made it as high as number 4 is because, as always, he somehow is able to sweet talk the committee and get favorable spots week after week, despite not doing a damn thing. You talk. You beat Kenny King, cool. You are part of a freaking 500 versus 500 man match on Impact, and you got carried to that win. My man's just getting carried and talking and carries.
Burt, you have any remarks?
I do think that I agree with everything Lucha said. I do think it's interesting that because Nick Aldis is higher than Trinity this week, correct? Am I right?
Yeah.
I do think Nick Aldis' promos are obviously they're a lot better than what, and recently that's never been his problem. It's more of his in the ring work. For me, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I'm not going to lie and sit here and say that his promos don't carry and don't give off the vibe of someone who's a world champion material. He does from the look, you know what I mean? But like Lucha said, you can't just talk your way to number one. He's never going to be number one until he shows up, shows us something. You know what I mean? So, yeah, talking can only get you so far. So I agree with everything Lucha said. And he wrote the book on the power ranking, so,
Talking can only get you so far, and then for where he couldn't go from there, he's just gotten carried.
So despite the loss, the Motor City Machine Gun still came in at number 1. Why do you think that is, Burt?
Well, let me just say first, I would think this is the closest week that anyone's came in to knocking them off. You know what I mean? Just because, instead of two people going out there and getting 2 different wins, you had them wrestling as a team and they got the loss. So, if it wasn't for their champ bonuses, I don't think that they'd be that high. But with that being said, we saw the blueprint. Matt Morgan. See what I did there? We saw the blueprint, and they know what it's going to take to beat him. Someone's got to go out there and beat him. I mean, we see what it takes to get them out of the number one spot, and it's going to take a loss. So, I think it's going to happen one of these days because they're not going to be on top forever. But until then, they are number one.
What about you, Lucha? Why do you think they're still number one despite the loss?
I mean, Burt kind of hit it on the head, pretty much, with everything he said, but also in the fact they're still number one because this was a non-title match. Like, let's run it back on Slammiversary. I doubt very seriously that if Sabin loses and Shelly wins, that they remain number one because Sabin lost the strap. So it's the simple fact that it was a non-title. And I'm just gonna take an unnecessary dig at the Coven because that's my new gimmick now. I took my cape off for the Coven. They just pulled the Coven's playbook and lost a non-title match. And like I said, one every now and again is fine, but once you start dropping multiple non-title matches, it kind of like kills your cred. So it's like they can take this one non-title loss and it'll be fine.
Don't let it become a pattern.
It's just
it's like like the hot dance. It's called doing the Coven. That's called like losing multiple victories in a row. You know what I mean? Do the Coven. I told you it's all white guy dancing. Just
it's all in the hips. It's all in the hips. Yeah. It's all in the hips.
Win a non-title match? No. Non-title? No. Okay. I'm done bullying the Coven.
Okay, so coming in at number 9, number 1 contender Trinity. This is the slowest, highest, I guess you could say, she's been since she's came on the Power Rankings. Number 9, is it because she didn't wrestle and she was just in the backstage segment? What do you guys think, Lucha?
She's almost in danger of being in Nick Aldis territory as far as she's not necessarily getting carried to her wins. Sorry. She's not necessarily getting carried to her wins, but the talking to match ratio is starting to favor heavily towards talking with her. So we're right here on the cusp of Slammiversary, so like things can change in an instant because she could very well be number 1 next year. All she has to do is win at Slammiversary, win the title, or if she's in a position where she has to pull the double. But either way, it's put up or shut up for her and for Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis just got higher than she did because he was a part of the winning team because he got carried. But yeah, that's all I got.
Her being number 9 this week, I think is a product of Impact pretty much giving you a full course meal this week with all the sides. This show was loaded. You know what I mean? Like, not only like I felt like, it felt like every match meant something, every backstage promo meant something. So this week was going to be hard if you just talk to crack that top 10. So her cracking the top 10 for just talking is a testament to her popularity. So I think it's, it's 1 week.
But the interesting thing here is, check this out. Giselle Shaw came in at number 6. Giselle Shaw is, she beat, I guess that's probably why she came in at number 6, because she beat a former Knockouts tag team champion in Courtney Rush. So what do you think about that? I mean, do you think that justifies her coming in at number 6 over Trinity, who is number 1 contender?
Well, yeah, just because I know me personally, I value wins. You know what I mean? And I like how Giselle won. She got a great heel win with the feet on the ropes. I like that. You know what I mean? I like when people work smarter, not harder. So
I'm surprised you noticed that. You usually turn a blind eye to heel tactics.
Well, maybe it's just called selective memory. I choose what I want to remember. Sometimes I misremember things. You know what I mean? So I angered him because I just got caught. I just got caught. See what I did? You just fucked up.
Damn shame. Damn shame. You heel ass.
It's like a senior minute society. You see what you just fucked up. I fucked up. I got caught.
You know, I didn't think about it until you said something, like until you connected Giselle Shaw and Trinity together. I kind of would have swapped them, like their position, honestly, because, like, I mean, yeah, we value wins, but like wins momentum, and I'm pretty sure Giselle Shaw like took a loss a couple weeks ago before she got this one win here. Trinity kind of hasn't lost yet, so it is a little controversial that she's that far ahead of Trinity, especially considering she's a number one contender. I think this is a product of Scott D'Amore wanting too much creative control in the power rankings, seeing that we are under the Impact banner. We're not, but it's sad. We gotta, say we gotta tell the joke before we tell the joke, before it gets taken as serious. But anyway, I think this is a product of Scott D'Amore wanting creative control and wanting Giselle at number 6. Another payoff. And of course, speaking of payoff, the one week I don't put PCO on the deck on, the 1 week I vote for PCO and don't get paid off for him, no one sends the check. He's nowhere to be found.
I do agree. It's a little controversial because Trinity does have more momentum than Giselle Shaw. But however, like Eric Bischoff always says, controversy creates cash. Speaking of PCO, the 2 guys that attacked him and poured battery acid down his throat came in at number 8, Bully Ray and Steve Macklin. And not only did they pour battery acid down his throat, they set him on fire.
Wasn't he like blown up?
He didn't get blown up. He just got set on fire.
But there was battery acid like in the vicinity and shit, and then he gets set
true.
on fire.
I think he should have blown up.
He would have blown up. Like, they just murdered a man legitimately.
I'm going to choose to believe that the committee doesn't reward people committing crime.
And they don't. They shouldn't.
They came in at number 8. They literally murdered PCO and Bully Ray and Z.
No. I said the committee doesn't reward. I mean, they don't give them the number 1 spot. You can be in the top 10 like committing a crime, but you don't get the number 1 spot committing a crime. That's what I mean. It's fine them being number 8 committing a crime, but number 1, that's a little crazy.
Oh, now I remember. It was when Eddie Edwards was feuding with PCO. They ran him over, and Eddie Edwards made the power rankings.
Well, first of all, let's remember Eddie had nothing to do with that. That was Rikishi, who, just getting back to old Rikishi ways and running people over, that wasn't Eddie's fault. He had nothing to do with that. At least he has his alibi. They were at home watching TV when that happened.
Lucha.
So you're telling me that Rikishi's TNA return after what was he there like 07, I believe? He was there for like a couple weeks.
I don't remember. That's crazy.
So you mean tell me his return in 2023 was him running over PCO?
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me.
Yeah. It's pretty simple. It's called you just said that the Coven have a pattern of losing. So I'm taking that same logic. Rikishi has a pattern for running people over. Okay?
All right.
So was Rikishi driving the train that ran over Mickey James?
Oh God, I remember.
Yeah, I remember when Mickey James got ran over by a train.
No. Rikishi's not a conductor. He's not a conductor. He drives cars, not trains.
Conductor.
Well, conductors who drive trains.
Driving the white Hummer?
I don't know about that. I don't know.
Okay. Moving on. We got 2 more numbers to cover. Let's talk about number 7, Jonathan Gresham getting a big win over Allen Angels. So I in my opinion, Jonathan Gresham's got momentum going in to the Ultimate X match, but he hasn't been on the power rankings. Actually, no, was he on last week with Speedball?
I think he was.
So he was on last week with Speedball, and this time by himself. So your thoughts on Gresham being number 7?
That was a big win. Very big win. And let me just say before I talk more, about Gresham. I'm not saying it was the same type of victory, but remember like 20, maybe 15 years ago, it was a WWE TV match with Jeff Hardy and The Undertaker, and The Undertaker whooped his ass, but Jeff Hardy got over at the end. More so than it won in a loss than he ever could in a win. Not comparing them, but Alan Angels looked like a star after that. That's my prediction for winning the Ultimate X match. He's in it, right?
Yes.
That's my prediction for the winner. I think Alan Angels looked like a star in that match, and looks like he's might be done with the design. So I'm looking forward to see where he goes from here. And as far as Gresham, I think Gresham, since he's come to Impact, has been nothing short of spectacular. So that was a really big win for him. I wouldn't count out him winning the Ultimate X match either. I think those two should be the favorites. I would say Al Angel is more of a long shot for me. That's me picking with my heart, but I think Gresham is probably the clear-cut favorite to win that match.
Lucha, your thoughts?
Yeah, with John Gresham in the power rankings, it's like when he has been on here most of the time, recently, it's always been with Speedball, you know what I'm saying, in some degree. So it's like him getting that win and being able to establish his own like momentum streak going into Slammiversary is real big. Burt, I kind of, as much as I agree with you that Alan Angels is my pick for Ultimate X, I'm also trying to look at like the match for whoever walks out of Slammiversary with the X title. Mm-hmm. And I feel like regardless of who wins, it's screaming Gresham. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, who are the heels in that match? The technical heels in that match are who are, because it's Gresham, Angels, and who are the other participants? I'm just running a blank. Speedball, right?
Yeah, Speedball's in it. I don't have the whole thing off the top. Once we get to the Slammiversary prediction segment,
I think that face versus face doesn't usually work. So, but that usually I don't usually think like that. But yeah, I'm kind of with you too. I think it's kind of screaming Gresham to win.
Oh, the other ones are Kevin Knight and Kushida. So it's Angels, Jonathan Gresham, Kevin Knight, Kushida, and Speedball Mike Bailey.
So technically, since Angels just kind of turned face, those are 5 faces, right?
Yeah,
5 faces, but Angels can go either way because I mean he was just a heel. Gresham can get real intense with it, and Speedball can show out himself. So it's just a matter of
okay. So last, but certainly not least, number 5, our tag team champions, ABC, who were confronted by the Rascals backstage on this week's episode of Impact, and who will be defending their titles at Slammiversary. They made the top 5, and based on this week's list, they're actually the lowest ranking champions, not counting Joe Henry because he didn't make the power rankings. So of the champions that did make the power rankings, they're the lowest ranking. Burt, why do you think that they're the lowest ranked champions on this week's power rankings?
I'm not gonna, get mad at the committee, but someone's not doing their job. And, I have a rule that, when I put the guidelines together for the committee, one of my number one rules is you always have to vote for ABC. Like no, that's not true, but I would have put them higher. I had them higher. If you watch that segment, I always watch Impact with my scouter on, like in Dragon Ball Z. And during that segment, the scouter broke. There was like 4 Super Saiyans on TV with the Rascals and ABC. Like that segment, like I couldn't keep my eyes off the segment. You had me and Lucha had a little back and forth discussion behind the scenes about this. I call that the 4 pillars of Impact right there. Those are 4 guys that I would put all the belts on if I was booking the company. But, I think it's not even, I think it's a kind of a product that like the tag champs, knockouts or men, just don't seem to get a lot of love on the countdown for whatever reason it is. I don't know why, but I guess I'll take this as a small victory, them at least being on the countdown. And number 5 is not bad when you look at who's ahead of them. I know real quick, it's the people ahead of them are Machine Guns, Deanna, and who else?
Leo Rush and Nick Aldis.
I'd put him ahead of Nick Aldis just because, you know, they have gold and he's trying to get gold. Even though he's part of the winning team, I still would have ABC ahead of them. But the difference between 4 and 5 is not much, so I'm okay with it.
Lucha?
I mean, the thing with ABC though, you kind of gotta look at it from this way too. They've kind of just been, you know, riding, just, you know, not necessarily having too many like really big statement wins against teams. When's the last time they defended the belt? What was that? Against All Odds, I believe. Was that the last show we had?
Yeah, I think so.
There haven't been too many matches where they're on TV, and if they are, they're pretty much going against like the bottom of the barrel of the division. So even those wins are kind of meh. So, but they are in a predicament where they're in a situation where they can get a 2-for-1 if they can win on Impact and win at Slammiversary and retain the titles. Because if they can pull both those off, you got to have them top 3 at that.
You just kind of that one kind of broke my heart a little bit because spoiler alert. Well, it's not a spoiler; it's a prediction. I have the Rascals beating them at Slammiversary if they're in that match.
I don't think they are. I think it's Subculture.
They're gonna get
Myers.
Because I guarantee you, Wentz will beat Bay next week. I don't think that they're doing all this just to have them not be in the match. So I think they will win at Slammiversary.
I was there and I don't even know who. I don't even remember who won.
Well, that you're in the future. That hasn't happened yet. Okay, you're a time traveler. You know what I mean? So you're basically Cable for Marvel, or Bishop. You're from the future. You know what I mean? So we don't know that happened yet. You know what I mean?
I'm not Cable. I'm streaming.
Give me the lotto numbers, Lucha.
I ain't got that.
At least just tell me if they're gonna bring the McRib back. Do they bring the McRib back?
Of course.
Okay, good. That's all I care about.
All right. Seems like we've covered all the numbers 1 through 10. Now, for a segment I like to call Which Match Will Have the Biggest Implication on the Power Rankings next week? And it's very interesting because next week we have the Go Home Show 2 Impact and Slammiversary. So,
was all of that the title of the segment?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name of the whole segment, that entire sentence.
All right, so we have 9 matches at Slammiversary. And we got the Digital Media Championship match, the Impact World Title match, the Knockouts World Title match, the Tag Team match with Bully Ray, Steve Macklin, PCO, and Scott D'Amore. We got the 4-way for the Impact World Tag Team Championship. We got Ultimate X to determine number 1 contender for X Division title. We got the X Division title match, the Knockouts World Tag Team title match, and of course, a singles match between Eddie Edwards and Frankie Kazarian. Of those 9 matches, which match or matches do you guys think will have the biggest implications on next week's Power Rankings? Lucha, we will start with you.
Well, mine are going to be like obvious, but not obvious at the same time. I'm going with for the first one. I'm going to say Leo Rush versus Chris Sabin, and the reason why I'm going with that one is Leo Rush already. Hey, Burt, what was the point differential between Leo Rush and the Machine Guns this week?
Pull that up for you right now. I if I remember right, I think it was pretty. Oh, okay. The Machine Guns had 84 points and Leo had 60. So not small, but, pretty close if you think about it.
That's by far like the closest anyone's gotten since this freaking Megazord of a Unity has come together. Yeah, so Leo Rush is already kind of sort of starting to chip away a little bit at maybe not being number 1, but at least making sure the Machine Guns aren't number 1 as well. If Leo Rush can, finish the story and beat Chris Sabin
Okay, Cody
for the
Rhodes.
X Division title.
Oh God!
That's all he
Oh
needs to
God!
do is just
That
finish the
joke
story,
was skinny.
and then he can be the one. He can be the one that can end the reign of the Motor City Machine Guns. My other match is one I referenced earlier, and that is the tag team 4-way for the tag titles. And I say that because ABC has a chance to get a win this Thursday on Impact and successfully defend the titles at Slammiversary not 2 days later. So, you pull that off. That's not only going to get them on, but that should get them high.
At what
on the
number
power
do you think they'll land if they beat if Ace beats Zachary Wentz and they successfully retain in the 4-way? What's the highest you think they'll go?
Top 3.
And if the Rascals win, do you think they'll be high?
The Rascals lose, they'll be high. The Rascals wake up, they'll be high.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go in a different direction. I think the Ultimate X match, and I think the Ultimate X match is the most important match just because that's my match of the night, even though it hasn't even happened yet. And I just think the winner of that is going to be easily top 3. And I also just think that if Deonna is somehow able to retain, I think that's going to, because again, like you said, if the Machine Guns win, it's going to be really hard for them to be knocked out of the number 1 spot. But I'm saying the other matches are important because in order for the Machine Guns not to be number 1, people have to win and they have to lose. So those 2 matches, just because of the stakes in those matches, if they're able to take care of business, they're going to be pretty high. And obviously, if the Machine Guns lose, I think both the winners of those 2 matches will be battling for the number 1 spot. Just because, again, I just always look at the X Division title as like the most important title in the company. So, the winner is going to be number 1 of that. And then obviously, if Deonna is able to get a big win over Trinity, I think that's going to be a really strong case for her to be number 1.
As for yours truly, this is hard, but if I had to choose 2 matches, I'd say Chris Sabin versus Leo Rush for the X Division title and Trinity versus Deonna for the Knockouts World title, because if by some miracle Leo Rush defeats Chris Sabin, I think that may knock down the Motor City Machine Guns a peg or 2. And I feel like if Deonna beats Trinity and main events, I could see her taking the number 1 spot, assuming Chris Sabin loses to Leo Rush.
Let me just say, and Lucha, you're the historian, I think this has a chance to be the best Slammiversary since the one that had, which is the one that had Pentagon versus Sami Callihan, where he hit him with the railroad spike. Was that 2018 or 2019?
7?
It also had Moose versus Aries at that one.
The one from the Rebel?
I'm not sure where it was. I just know that it was Moose versus Aries and Pentagon versus Callihan, and those were both incredible matches. I just think this has the chance. Look at those matches we just named. The Ultimate X match, Deonna versus Trinity, Leo Rush versus Sabin. That's a bona fide dream match. You know what I mean? Like Shelly versus all this. 2 like Impact, like guys who have been with the company a long time. Like those are 4 like marquee matches. That's not even like the whole card, because that tag match is going to be incredible. This should probably be one of the best I think this is going to go down as one of the best Slammiversaries of all time.
Any comments, Lucha?
Trying to register now. Slammiversary 2021 has a special place in my heart because we were there for that. Like we have a T-shirt that says so. We were there. But also taking that completely out of the situation, like looking at what happened on that show, we had Kenny Omega versus Sami Callihan for the world title. Ultimate X with Josh, Petey, Rohit, Ace, and Chris Bay was crazy. Thunder Rosa showed up to successfully challenge Deonna for the Knockouts title, and then while Deonna's celebrating, Mickey James comes out. Oh shit! And that was Impact's first event with a crowd, so it's got to beat that.
And it was 2018, the one I was thinking of. It was 2018. I was Slammiversary 2018. And by the way, that show
That
kind of
is-
kicked off this almost resurgence of Impact. That show was critically acclaimed, if I remember right. But yeah, like 2021 was great. You're right, but I just think that just look at all the talent on this card, man. It's just a who's who of names. You know what I mean? Like, and also too, like, again, the unfortunate news of Steve Macklin getting hurt. If depending on who Bully picks, that match could be really entertaining. You know what I mean? Bully could have a big surprise, for his partner. You know what I mean? So I just think this card is loaded. I don't think there's going to be a bad match on the show. And usually that's par for the course for Impact. That's all they usually do. But this one just seems extra special. It seems like this is going to be a really good show. Great. I don't think it's under. I don't think there's any way less than an A- show. So it's got Scott D'Amore on the show wrestling, the coach. That should automatically bump it up a full letter grade. Friend of the show, Scott D'Amore.
Lucha, you have any comments?
No, because he
taking it all in
responded
right
to me.
He's taking it all in.
Responded to me saying shit. So I figured we were good.
Okay.
Lucha could be Bully's partner. We don't even know. He could be his partner.
Yeah.
And automatically, if Lucha's his partner, I'm voting Lucha number 1.
Same. All right, so
right,
I guess
better. And I need it on the nameplate. I need number 1 Lucha A. Smith on the nameplate.
Okay, you will get that. You will get that for sure. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continuous support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so not only do you get notified when this video drops, but when TNAIW releases other content such as Lucha. What other content is TNAIW releasing?
Well, we have the latest episode of TNAIW Reaction went live on Sunday. This is Tuesday. So make sure y'all check that out. Also, we have the second half of the first round matchup in the 2023 Athena Cup. Last week, we saw Gail Kim defeat Su Young. Jordan Grace beat Tessa Blanchard. Deonna Purrazzo beat Velvet Sky. And Taya Valkyrie defeated Rosemary. And those were some bangers of 2K matches. Coming up this week, the second half, like I said, we have the Battle of the Beautiful People. Madison Rain versus Angelina Love. We have Tara. We have Tara versus ODB. We got Mickie James versus Mia Yim. Hey Burt, you ready for the main event?
Yeah, let me hear it.
You ready for the main event? Datila?
Yeah.
Main event. The wild card, the Impact Plus wild card play-in tournament winner, Masha Slamovich. Yes, she may not be a former world champion, but she was a wild card. Versus Awesome Kong.
Oh,
Ooh.
well, Awesome Kong's in my finals. So I have Awesome Kong versus Gail Kim in the finals. So
and then also we do have Slammiversary on Saturday. So you know what that means on Sunday, live at 8 p.m. on twitch.tv/TNAIW channel. It's the return of The Big Show.
Wow.
Captain Insano show?
The big show. Big bad show tonight.
And just real quick on the Athena Cup, because this is the knockouts, but we had the Ryder Cup. But listen to some of these reviews. ESPN, greatest tournament ever. Forbes, the best. Wall Street Journal, the greatest tournament that's ever been in wrestling. I'm not lying. Like, these are real reviews. I didn't say it. So you need to be paying attention to this tournament.
Hold on.
It's prestigious.
Hold on.
Definitely.
USA Today voted this as the greatest first round bracket of all time.
It's true.
Yeah. And with that being said, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.